It doesn't happen very often in the life of an organization that the leadership is changing. And indeed, we have to thank João Rodrigues for more than 8 years of leadership as a president of FEPS. And it's not going to be only me, but after Maria João, as well as Nicolas as a new president spoke, we invited 3 distinguished guests also to tell what they think about this. We believe that this is a good opportunity also to have this momentum, to live this moment together with our audience. I believe we are among friends. And first of all, I would like to ask Maria João to talk to you, to address this audience, and she will be followed by Nicolas. Maria.
Thanks again. Great. Let me, first of all, greet all of you for coming in this beautiful hub of the progressive thinking in Europe, something we have built together. So we have many friends. I see many friendly faces here. And this is a moment to celebrate. I will speak today not only as FEPS President leaving office, but as a European politician. Because I would like to share with you what I feel, and something I'm sure that you also feel. I feel that we are going to a new world. By coincidence, last week I was in Davos, speaking in the civil society initiative called the Leaders Forum, and I saw what all of us we have seen, meaning the old world order crumbling. And now we are in face of crossroads, and we have on one hand those who would like to have the world organized in terms of spheres of influence, and driven by those who think they can pick land and resources wherever they want without respecting international law. This is a possible world. But then we have another possible world, which should be based in rules, but in fact new rules with more justice, and making sure that democracy, human rights, they are really delivered, and democracies work for these human rights and sustainability together. This is a completely different vision of the world. And let me tell you what I really feel, is that if we see the planet from outside, yes, we have a beautiful planet. And we cannot just accept that our world will be driven and run by autocrats. We cannot accept this. We want our world to be driven by democracies taking care of planet and people. This is what I want. And I'm sure this is also what you want. So I believe that for us progressives, we need to make sure that European Union will be in the second camp. And this means to have a European Union with bold plans for real European democratic sovereignty. This is the moment to push for our strategic autonomy in many fronts, in defense, in security, in energy, in digital, but most of all to make sure that our choices on social standards and environmental standards, they are really respected. I believe that the time has come, and the next months will be a high test for this, to take bold decisions. And at the same time, we need to move forward with the enlargement. We have a big plan for enlargement, and this is an imperative, while at the same time, we need to reform our European Union. And then to the world. Yes, we need stronger Europe to uphold and reform multilateral system while we set these new kind of strategic partnerships. Because if we are able to set strategic partnerships with Latin America, Africa, with Asian countries, We are countering this Trump vision of the world organized in spheres of influence. So we do have a huge responsibility. And I'm very pleased to tell you that I consider that FEPS has worked hard to put on the table many contributions about all these issues. And this was possible because FEPS is here, so a team, in fact a small team, 25 people, but a much larger community. We have hundreds and hundreds of experts working with us. We have hundreds and thousands of actors, the civil society working with us. And we have a full connection with our political family in all fronts. So this is the base of the FEPS inspiration, and you can count on FEPS, I'm sure, to move forward with this ambition. Now, let me tell you something about myself, because as you know, I asked to be replaced after 8 years of quite hard work to build up the FEPS together with you. I think this is a reasonable thing everybody can understand. And I'm now moving to new challenges, reflecting somehow the situation we have. And I want to share with you some short announcements. I will focus my efforts on basically 3 operations. One is about dealing with the geopolitical situation, because we do have a risk of a world divide between the so-called West and the rest, now representing by G7, by the way, very much in crisis. But on the other hand, let's not make illusions. The rest can become the BRICS. And so this is a big risk for the world. And irresponsible consequence of Trump's strategy. I believe the way to deal with this is, of course, to uphold multilateralism, to reform the United Nations system, but at the same time to use the G20 because this is a more inclusive club, and to bring a stronger voice of the European Union to the G20. So we work about this, and now I just was invited to play this role of bringing the voice of the European Union to the G20 T20, and we'll start, I think, coordinated action in this direction. The other challenge I think is worthwhile to work on is the digital sovereignty. Because I really believe that without stronger European digital sovereignty, we lose sovereignty in all fronts. In prosperity, in well-being, in green transition, in social justice, in democracy. So this is a central cause for us. We need really to shape the way digital transformation is taking place, and particularly what is about to come with AI developments. And finally, most of all, I would like to tell you that I decided to accept another challenge, which is about the international far right. Because we do have an international far right, clearly organized, operating across the world, and here also in Europe. So we have now plans, the global progressive mobilization. We have new bodies being created, and one of them will be in the South, in the global South. This will be called our World Institute, and I will be with several others from different continents, part of the leadership of this institute, because we believe that we need to give a stronger voice to Global South as a key ally to progressive Europeans. So this means that I will go on around in Brussels, also going on with some travel, but you can count and counting on me for the next phase. Let me conclude by saying the following. Of course, I'm proud to be part of those who were able to give progressive impetus to the European project. I remember when people were saying, well, we cannot have a real European strategy for growth and jobs and for social cohesion. We made it together. I believe that in a certain moment we prepared a treaty to reform the European Union, and then we lost it in a referendum. But then we rescued the treaty, the Lisbon Treaty now. But I must tell you that the thing which for me is really a great honor to be part of this was the fact that during the financial crisis, and we were dealing with this painful austerity, incredible drive, big mistake, we could really impose a European social pillar, a European pillar of social rights. And I'm so proud to be here in front of some of the key actors. Esther, I remember the lot of talks we had to make sure, member by member of the European Parliament, that will force the Council to accept the social pillar. By that time, it's good to remember that the main opponent was in the Council. Guess who? Orban. Already Orban. We knew it coming. And so, again, working with Nicolas Schmit. Nicolas Schmit would then, as a commissioner, turn the pillar into a real action plan. But of course, Nicolas, our story together started much earlier, much earlier, in the so-called employment strategy adopted during the Luxembourg presidency. And since then, we became friends, and that's why I'm really so happy that you accepted this responsibility now. I'm pretty sure that we'll move FEPS for a new phase, and together with Kaiser, our vice president. And look, I would like just to use my last seconds to say that FEPS is something we could create together. We have a big FEPS community, all the member foundations, all the experts, all the stakeholders, all the friends. But I really need to conclude my really sending a big thanks to the FEPS team in-house, the 25 kind of heroes which are able to produce a fantastic job. Also a big thanks to Laszlo, Secretary General. And with this I conclude, and many thanks all of you for coming.
Thank you so much, Maria.
And now we are coming to a big moment.
Would you like to listen to your successor?
Yeah. Now there is something I need to offer to him. First of all, as you see, this is a kind of bowl, but this is also a flower. And this is handmade in Portugal. This is where this was made. But most of all, I think there is a beautiful story behind this piece. And the beautiful story is the following. This was handmade by traditional workers of the glass. They really made this with the traditional way, to spread the air, the hot air, so in beautiful art. And what happened, it was many years ago in Portugal. There is a region in northern Lisbon called Marinha Grande, so a traditional industrial area, where we had a lot of companies producing these kind of pieces. But all of a sudden, this industry came into a crisis, traditional glass manufacturing. And so there was a big crisis there. They were a bit desperate, I must say, looking for new jobs. By that time, by coincidence, I was Minister of Social Affairs in Portugal. And then I start working with them, and we start really seeing that there is a hope to have a new plan for the region. And then there was a big restructuring, a big transformation, and now, today, this region is one of the most innovative hubs in Portugal. If you go there, you see a lot of companies producing a new kind of outcome, because it's then the plastics and the molds. They use manufacturing by computer. They export all over the world, so it's a lot of success, a lot of qualified jobs, including for young people. So I'm saying this is a beautiful story, because this means that when we have progressive action, we can really provide a better future for those who are involved in sometimes in deep trouble. Now this became a legacy to FEPS because we decided to bring beautiful objects from all over Europe. So this is part of FEPS patrimoine. But for me, it's a very beautiful symbol, and that's why, Nicolas, I'm very pleased to hand over my role to you as the new President FEPS by handing you this beautiful piece. Voilà. Et voilà.
Thank you very much.
Elle a piqué sur.
Ah, yes. Well, dear friends, I must say it's quite, for me, an emotional moment for different reasons. First, because I never had imagined to become the president of FEPS, as I had never imagined, by the way, to be the lead candidate for our family during the European election. So I must say that life, and beyond life, perhaps also our movement, was very kind to me and has been very kind to me. Social democratic movement when I was quite young, more than 50 years ago, so you can imagine. And I see that things are going on. And it is for me a very great incentive to go on. Dear Maria, I never had imagined to be your successor, by the way. You called me when I was Minister of Labor to be the coordinator of social and labor affairs ministers. And I enjoyed it. And as I said this morning, I learned a lot from you. I know that you are a professor, and I must say, well, I studied a lot from your experience and your way to handle things and also to analyze things. And we spend quite a lot of time together discussing, especially at very critical moments, the crisis, the financial crisis, the increase of unemployment, youth unemployment, where we were enjoyed by Kajsa, who was at that time the leader of the Young Socialists. So all that was very exciting moments, sometimes also very difficult moments. And you gave you described this period in Portugal of a region where industry was down, where people were in despair, and finally you managed to restore. And I think this is the essence of our work as social democrats. And I would say that first, when we look around, the world is not, as Kani said, in a transition. It is in some kind of major disruption. But also, and perhaps particularly in these times, we have to be aware that ideas matter. Ideas matter. Unfortunately, we are not the only to know that. We see that now at the extreme right, by the populists, they have understood that ideas matter. But we have to oppose our ideas to theirs. And therefore, the first battle we have now to deliver is the battle for better society, democracy, social justice. And this is a battle first against the extreme right. And I'm very happy that we still can count on you to be part of this battle FEPS is already engaged in. Now, taking over from you, I must say that you have built FEPS in a way. You have really built up together with all the staff, and especially also with you, Laszlo. Also, we share some part of our common life story. So there would be no FEPS as we know it now without you. And this is a challenge for me, I must say, because this means, well, first you have to continue, and second, we have to adapt, because as you said, the world is changing, not always in the best way, and especially also our political family has to adapt and to change and to convince again. This is really a big challenge, and to convince citizens that we are not belonging to the past, that perhaps for a better society, a democratic society, a more just society, we should be the future and not the populists. And to do that, to convince, I think we have first to reflect, we have to think, we have to analyze, we have to propose. And that's what FEPS has done, and that's what FEPS has to do in the future. I must say, especially as a commissioner, I was quite lucky, I must say. I was a commissioner at a very happy and positive moment. Because and you recalled it, we got this tool I didn't really believe in, which was the pillar of social rights. And finally, I remember a meeting we had with Jean-Claude Juncker in his office, where we discussed and we asked for the action plan. And finally, I couldn't imagine at that time that I would be the commissioner to put down the action plan. And it was under a Portuguese presidency also. Very often Portugal is now playing a very essential, important role in the European Union, where we, through the Porto Summit, we not only launched Social Europe, we prepared a certain number of important decisions, and we anchored this Social Europe. And this is the big challenge also, because nothing is acquis forever. Nothing. Not democracy, not Europe. We discover now that even the European Union is not something we can consider definitely for granted. We have our enemies, I could say it, inside, who want to destroy the European Union with all the values, with all the positive things it has brought to citizens. They want to destroy it. And they have found allies. We considered to be our allies before. And now they are the allies of the enemies of Europe. And that's why now we have to come together, all the progressives, in Europe first, but also, and here I join exactly what you have said, also outside. And I think there is not a fatality that this terrible idea of new imperialism will win. That's not a fatality. But to oppose this, we have to be stronger. First, as Europeans, we have to be stronger. And that's why we have to work on ideas how to be strong. Because the first condition to be strong is to have a strong majority of citizens behind us. If citizens do not care about Europe, if citizens do not care about a strong Europe, well, we have a problem. So there is a work to be done about citizens. And that's a bit the discourse. Now I'm a bit scared, because you cannot just limit Europe to a discourse on competitiveness. Though I am the first to say, yes, without competitiveness, without an innovative, strong economy, well, we cannot make it. And I think when we listen to Mariana Mazzucato, she would absolutely agree. Everything depends on how we define and how we implement this competitiveness. And we see that we have a return of this neoliberal ideology coming back on this issue of competitiveness. And we have to oppose, and we have to present a counter model. This is not just to criticize, but we have to propose a counter model. And that's what FEPS has to do with others. That's what, together with Lina's group of high qualified intellectuals, we have really to work on alternative, credible solutions. That's one thing. Second is a word on our DNA. Well, I had the pleasure to be for some years Minister of Labour and Social Affairs. I had to be the pleasure and the honor to be Commissioner for Social Affairs. And I think this is something we have really, really to preserve. There is no credible social democracy without a strong commitment to social justice. And social justice, it's not just about distribution. And I fully agree what has been said. It's before distribution. Certainly distribution is important about taxes and all these issues. But finally, it starts with the world of work. And it starts with the world of work, which is also in a total disruptive period with the new technologies, but also with a return of some brutal capitalism. Let's call things as they are. We should not have any reserve to use the words which correspond to the reality. And that's part of how we approach these issues. Work, the exploitation, the new work models. I tried to at least bring some progress through the platform work, to better wages, to collective bargaining. It's about, and it's not because, Esther, you were here, it's about the position of trade unions in our society. If there are not strong trade unions in our society, in our world of work, well, there will be no progress. There will be regressive, not progressive, but a regression. So we have, that's what makes also our progressive family. We have to work together, parties and also trade unions, but also civil societies organizations which are involved in social issues. So now there's a lot to do. We have to give us our priorities. That's always a difficult exercise, Laszlo, because the demands are huge, but we have to give us our priorities, which correspond also to the expectation of the citizens, to the expectation of our partners. And one of my wishes really to bring people as much as possible together, which means, I mentioned trade unions, but I mean also inside our family, our European party, Giacomo, we have to tighten our relationship. We are in some way also a service company. You have demands, tell us, and we work together on the topics, and especially, and I see members of the European Parliament, our group. Our group has to be strong. We have not the strongest group, but we have not the weakest either. And now it's a very important moment And we know the different issues in the parliament. So now we have to support the group. And the relationship with, between FEPS and the group is crucial. Because as I said, ideas matter, proposals matter, and a strong voice matters. And that's what we have to do together. I am looking forward for this job. It's not a job, no, that's the wrong word. For this mission, in some way, that's nice, yes. And I'm looking forward to work with all of you, especially with the team here, with all those who are involved with FEPS, meaning also the 70 and plus members of FEPS, partners of FEPS. And as social democrats always have to be optimistic. Because, well, if we are not optimistic, we fail. And even at the darkest times, social democrats were optimists, even at the darkest times. I remember this Italian, well, what's his name, who wrote this idea about a democratic Europe. Being in Spinelli, yes, Spinelli, when he was in prison on a terrible island somewhere in Italy. And he wrote his vision for Europe at the darkest time. Well, we are a bit in a dark time, but we have to be optimistic, and it is the optimism of the will. That's Gramsci. Please, let's go on.